90% of partner visa cases that come to me as an accredited immigration specialist are refused on the basis of lack of evidence. And there's always people asking us, and on places like Reddit, how much evidence do you actually need? Some people think they need hundreds of pages, and they do. Others worry they don't have enough, and they probably don't. All right. The reality is volume is very important, but it's not the only thing. I'm Owen Harris. I'm an accredited specialist in immigration law. We regularly advise clients navigating complex or time-sensitive applications. The core principles are assessed under 4 key categories, called in our industry or lingo the 4 pillars. So the 4 pillars are financial, nature of the household. Who does the washing, who does the ironing, who takes out the bins, do you live under the same roof or not? Social recognition, which is, are you a couple in the eyes of others? Now, in some cases, that's not always easy. You may be from different castes, you may be from different religions, your parents may not approve of your relationship, you may be in a same-sex relationship where it's frowned upon in your community, you might be in a throuple, quite a common situation these days. There's many other reasons why your relationship may not work. And then what are the long-term commitments to each other? Have you been together for a long time and split up, but you don't want to leave your partner stranded and have to go back to where they came from? Obviously, we need evidence to address each of these 4 categories. And if we're lacking evidence in one region because you haven't lived together, for example, then we need to demonstrate connections in those other 3 areas and build up a stronger evidence base in those areas. Before you consider applying, there's a lot of fraud in the partner visa application space. In fact, empirically, it's over 50%. The starting point is you're telling us lies and we're going to refuse your visa unless you can prove otherwise. The burden of proof, as they say, is on you, the applicant. So that's the first thing. Assume that the case officer believes you're lying. Work backwards from there. You can't just dump hundreds of files into ME account and expect the case officer to draw their own conclusions. The turnover in the department is massive. There are very few experienced case officers. They're overworked. They have deadlines. They have key performance criteria. Case officers are looking for quick wins. Give them a well-structured case with evidence that they can point to quickly, that they can tick that box and move on to the next box. That's what you need to do. If you can't do that, then you haven't done your job properly. Don't upload every message ever sent. Don't load hundreds of photos up without context. Don't load up everything without an explanation of what your structure is. So what does enough actually mean? In my view, there's no such thing as too much evidence. What there is people just dumping multiple examples of the same thing. That's a waste of time. Hearing 800 people all say, yeah, he's a good guy. You've made your point with the first 3 or 4. After that, it's just noise. You need to prove a clear relationship timeline. You need to prove that you've got evidence showing when you first met and currently and in between. And you need to be able to demonstrate that by clear examples of contact. Like in any evidence base, the more evidence you can provide, the more weight the case officer has to give to it. Most relationships are not textbook movie relationships. Every client that I see has a different and unusual situation that's not like any other couple. Maybe they couldn't meet because of religious reasons. Maybe they met and then separated because they got into a fight and one left and came back. Maybe, they started out together primary school but haven't seen each other for a while and it's an arranged marriage. Maybe they're the second wife in a Muslim relationship. Maybe they were together, they separated, they had other partners, there are other children involved, and then they got back together. I could name 100 different examples of a non-standard relationship. And in fact, at my age, I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to think there's no such thing as a standard relationship. Every permutation and weird combination of facts and figures that could happen, I've seen. But essentially what you're trying to do is to prove to someone that your relationship is genuine and ongoing. That's what we're about. If you've got a long distance relationship, if you've never met or haven't met for a while because of COVID, because you work for the United Nations in a Sudanese refugee camp, because you've gone to a foreign country to complete a degree that wasn't offered here in Australia. If you're in an early stage de facto relationship, there are a bunch of reasons why the standard romantic US marriage scenario doesn't apply. De facto versus married. Married couples often assume that because they have a marriage certificate and there's a photo of them at a wedding, that should prove to the department that they are in a genuine and ongoing relationship. And that's completely wrong. Immigration doesn't view a marriage certificate as proof. If you are not married, our strong recommendation is that you look into de facto relationship status by registering your relationship with the New South Wales government or whatever state or territory you happen to be in. That's a very simple process, and it allows you to meet the tick in the box to apply for a partner visa without having to prove 12 months de facto and without having to be married. It's always better if you've been together for a while and you've got time. Time is critical in a partner visa application. The more time you can demonstrate together, the better your chances of proving that you're in a genuine and ongoing relationship. Right? It's not just enough to say, hey, I met this guy yesterday and today we're a couple. The longer you've got, the better your chance of success. Here we are 15 years ago and here we are today is going to be a much better story than, hey, I met this guy yesterday in a pub, I need a visa, I'm lodging a partner visa. So preparing a partner visa is about providing clear, concise information about your relationship over time. Some couples choose to do this themselves, and I completely understand that. When you're spending $10,000 on a visa, it's a lot of money. And then you've got to think to yourself, I'm going to pay an agent 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, whatever the number is, $1,000 to process a visa. Why would I spend money with that person? Why wouldn't I just try to do it myself? Well, the answer is because little changes to the process can make a big difference to the outcome. The other thing is that you may not have the time or the energy. And trust me, this is going to sap you like you would not believe. Whether you use an agent or not, you are going to hate the fact that you have to go through this process. You are going to be upset that it is so intrusive into your personal life, but that's what we're there to do. We take a lot of that burden away from you. So if you want to give us a call, give me a call. You can book a consultation in the link that'll be provided to you. Hope that was useful. Thank you.